is up, guys? How are you doing today? Thanks for stopping in. I'm so glad you did. You know, I always enjoy talking to you guys. I got sunburn on my neck the other day from mowing, and gosh, it is itching. So anyway, guys, not that you wanted to know anything like that. Today we're talking about a movie from 1984. I was 1 year old when this bad boy came out. It's directed by Mr. Richard Fleishcher, and it is called Conan the Destroyer. Before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button. But Conan the Destroyer is the very first Conan film that I saw as a youngster. The very first one was rated R. I was, I was 1 year old when this came out, so, the first one came out way before I was born. And so, growing up, I wasn't really allowed to watch the original Conan. Don't really know why, because this one is, the only thing that this one doesn't have that the original has is, I guess, boobies. But other than that, it's still kind of, graphic violence, all that kind of stuff. It's Conan, it's Conan. And so, to see the very first Conan film for me was out of the question as a little guy. But growing up, we got the DirecTV, but at the time when we got it, it was called Prime Star. Man, that's old school. So we got Prime Star satellite dish, and it came with the Sci-Fi Channel, the original Sci-Fi Channel, and they would have, Saturday afternoon movies. They'd have old, Conan and Darkman and just all the old good 80s, early 90s type sci-fi action films. And so I saw Conan the Destroyer first before I ever saw Conan the Barbarian. And a lot of people, much like, other sequels to famous franchises, people kind of crapped all over this one. They were like, that wasn't Conan, that wasn't that good. Whatever their issues may have been, I don't see it. I've always enjoyed this. Now, is Arnold Schwarzenegger the Conan that Robert E. Howard wrote about? Absolutely not. Conan that Robert E. Howard wrote about is not some, muscle-bound Austrian hunk. He's more in line with Jason Momoa's portrayal in the 2011 reimagining of Conan the Barbarian, where he's more lean. He's more of a cat, lithe, agility, because he's a master thief. He's able to climb cliffs and walls because he's a Sumerian. And he can just do all these things that Arnold, with his giant muscle mass, could not do if it was called for. All I'm saying is that if you're going to complain about Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan the Barbarian films, then you need to complain about Arnold Schwarzenegger being Conan to start with, because he's not. But for the sake of what we're talking about, he's Conan the Barbarian. And for everyone that grew up in the 70s and 80s and 90s, he is Conan the Barbarian. Because, let's face it, most of them haven't read Robert E. Howard. I love Robert E. Howard. I like Cole. I like Solomon Kane. I like Conan. All of his different characters. They're very similar, but they're all very different. Conan the Destroyer, to me, felt more like Conan from the novels than Conan than Conan the Barbarian, with the very first Arnold Schwarzenegger film. This felt like it had more magic. It had more fantasy elements to it, because we have Arnold, he's with this princess. He's supposed to go with this princess to get a horn to bring this god to life. And that felt more like a Conan story. He winds up fighting Pat Roach as Thothamon. I can't remember what his characters, but one of the classic Conan villains, Pat Roach, okay? The guy from Indiana Jones that he fought with the plane spinning around and he catches him with the propellers, and General Kale from Willow, that guy, okay? That's the same guy that Arnold Schwarzenegger fights in Conan the Destroyer, the monkey man, the monkey wizard who steals the girl with the giant ghost bird. That felt like fantasy, like sword and sandal fantasy. It wasn't Lord of the Rings high fantasy with fireballs and elves. It was low, in the dirt fantasy, and that's what made it feel like it was a Robert E. Howard story compared to the first one. Now, the first Conan was awesome. It gave us great moments. What is best in life? To see your enemies crushed and driven before you while hearing the lamentations of their women. That classic line. You know, it gave us that, and it gave us a Conan for reference, a base point for Conan the Barbarian for the uninitiated into Robert E. Howard's works. This gave them a jumping off point, but but Conan the Destroyer is where it feels like Conan really came into his own for me, especially after I have read the novels and I've read the short stories and I've seen different iterations of him in games and different things like that. Conan the Destroyer, in my opinion, is better than Conan the Barbarian, simply because it feels more like a Robert E. Howard story. I love the characters. We got Grace Jones. We got Wilt Chamberlain, the big giant basketball player. We've got Mako. He did the voice of Aku in Samurai Jack. He's also been in several other films. It has an eclectic cast of characters. And again, all these characters they're their own people. They are developed enough within this story that they could have their own movies made about them. And that is always the sign of a good character. In fact, I heard many years ago, I think it was Robert Rodriguez said that any good film that you're going to have, like, a group of characters, any good group of characters, each of them should be entertaining and engaging enough that you would want to see a story based on them. And all these characters in Conan the Destroyer feel that way. Each one of them could have their own film made about them, and Conan could guest star in it, and it would still be entertaining, is what I'm saying. So that's what I'm trying to share with y'all, that this is in my opinion, far superior iteration of Conan than the first film. This is indeed, and to me, a sequel that is better than the original, because it has great special effects. It has fantastic set design, fantastic score. In fact, I just bought the score to this the other day, a digital copy of it, and man, it's so good. I love playing, fantasy video games like Oblivion or Skyrim and listening to that soundtrack. That is a fantastic soundtrack. So, I mean, the score, the set designs, the costume designs, everything worked for this. I mean, now, a lot of it's not very much different from the first Conan the Barbarian, but it still sets itself apart enough to me that it looks more fantastical. It doesn't look so earthly, if that makes sense. It doesn't look like it's set on Earth. It looks like it could be set somewhere else. So, I love Conan the Destroyer. I'm glad that I revisited it last night while I was playing Dungeons & Dragons with some buddies of mine. Shout out to you, Bobby D. But yeah, it's fantastic, guys. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's streaming on Netflix. You can thank me later, guys, but definitely check it out. Go check out the first Conan the Barbarian so you can compare the two like I do. And let me know which one you like better. But anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for stopping in. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And as always, my friends, I am going to keep making them as long as you keep watching them. Peace out. God bless you, and I will see you soon.